everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about April new book releases. I do these videos every single month, so if you're interested in hearing about a ton of new releases each time, then do like and subscribe if you would like to. It just tells me that you enjoy these videos. So I have a lot of April releases to talk about today. I've got a mixture of contemporary, historical, some thrillers, some fantasy, and also quite a bit of sci-fi. So stay tuned. I will list all of the books I talk about today down below in the description. I'm not going to link them or anything, but they will be down there, so you can search them yourself. I've actually managed to do these in a proper order this time, so go me. Starting off with the earliest releases of the month, the first book I want to talk about is The Rise and Fall of Ava Alcana. This one is one of those famous people drama stories which I really enjoy. It's a mixture of contemporary and historical fiction. It says here that a Rolling Stone journalist is assigned to cover a story on a pop icon called Lexi Mayhem, which is a hilarious name. Years ago, another rising star from Lexi's past mysteriously leapt to her death. So I get the impression that the journalist is actually looking into what happened to this other person who's connected to Lexi, and Lexi is kind of like, just leave it, you don't want to know the history behind this, maybe because she's involved, I'm not sure. I do have a review copy of this one, so I'll hopefully be reading it soon. Let me know if you want a full review on my channel for this. That's coming out on the 4th of April. Also on the 4th of April we have a thriller. This one is called You Know Her. The tagline says that it's Killing Eve meets Sharp Objects. It's a savage and lush southern gothic about two women, one of which is a fledgling murderer and the other is a cop hell-bent on catching her. I think this one sounds absolutely fantastic. So I don't really read the synopses for thrillers, but this one does sound really good. It says here that the main character, the murderer, murders a guy called Mark Dixon and his mutilated body was found. Blah blah blah. Bodies start piling up and Nora, the officer, starts to suspect that there's something not quite right with the bartender. This doesn't have very many ratings on Goodreads yet, but I do think it sounds really good, so I'm hoping to get to this one soon. Another one coming out on the 4th of April is Before We Were Innocent. This one is, I think, a YA? No, it's not. It's an adult mystery thriller, but I think it follows the three best friends when they were younger and they go on a trip to Greece. There's 3 of them, but only 2 of them return home to the US. So one of the girls is obviously dead, and I think the media kind of rips the surviving girls apart and they have to deal with that. Years later, I think the survivors get back in touch and we learn what really happened in Greece back in the day. This one sounds really good. I've read quite a few books recently following this kind of premise where the girls or women did something when they were younger and they have to then confront their past. So I am looking forward to this. It sounds very suspenseful. The next one has a title that I don't know how to pronounce, and that is The Way of the Cicadas. I've got no idea. So this is apparently perfect for fans of The 100 and Station 11, which I am. At least I was a fan of The 100 until that finale. This one is a YA queer dystopia. It says here that 10 years after nuclear war devastated the US, Hayden is bored of rations, recycled air, and sterile light at the bunker that he's called home since childhood. A mysterious woman arrives with no long-term memory, and she is the first outsider to stumble upon the bunker ever. And she's trying to prove to the people who are still living underground that the surface isn't that bad. Although arguably, if she's got no memory, maybe that's something to do with the radiation, but I don't know. I do have a review copy of this one. I'm really excited to read it, although the rating on Goodreads is really low, and I'm quite nervous to find out why. I'm just having a quick scroll through the reviews, and a lot of them say that the premise is really good, but then it drags. They were disappointed because they thought it was an adult novel, but it's actually YA. But it is labelled as YA, so maybe they read this before it was labelled as such. Anyway, I think this one does sound really interesting. I'm looking forward to reading this one too. The next one I would like to talk about is The Bone Wars, which is also coming out early on in the month. It apparently came out in 2021 as well, but I don't know if it's getting a re-release or if it's coming out in the UK rather than the US. Go and look it up on Goodreads or Storygraph if you're unsure. This one I think is a YA book about a main character who is into paleontology, and I don't know if she's going on some sort of like summer internship or something. She goes up to Montana and finds a fossil. It's the first in a series, which sounds really cool. I used to really want to be a paleontologist. I kind of still do, but it's probably a bit too late for me to change my career path. But if I were to win the lottery, then I would definitely be digging up dinosaur bones. But this one sounds really exciting. Someone that I subscribe to has done a reading blog for this one and she really enjoyed it, so I am looking forward to reading this one, although it does again have a really poor average rating. It's only 3.13 at the moment, which is a bit disappointing, but I'm not going to let that deter me. And then we're moving on to the 11th of April. We have a historical mystery which is called The Cuban Eris. It's set in 1934 on a luxury vessel which is going from New York to Cuba, and on it two women collide and one of their pasts is threatening their life. I think one of the main characters has to figure out who wants her dead, and this sounds like a really good mystery set on a luxury ship, so I'm looking forward to reading this one too. I don't have a review copy of this one, but I might order it or see if my library is going to get it. Jumping back to the 4th quickly because I forgot a book, and that was Homecoming by Kate Morton. This is a historical murder mystery sort of thing, I think. I think it's told in 2 timelines, the first one being in the 50s, and I think someone dies in Australia very mysteriously and disappears from a big mansion, and then 60 years later a journalist is looking into the story and probably starts to uncover some truths and stuff. This one sounds really good. I love dual timelines. If this has some sort of family connection as well, it could be intergenerational, and I love that, so I really am looking forward to picking this one up. I think my library is going to carry this one, which is really exciting, so I'm going to get my hands on it as soon as possible. I don't think I've ever read anything by Kate Morton, but her books always captivate me by the synopsis, so I'm looking forward to reading this. And then back to the 11th of April, we have Some Desperate Glory. This one is adult LGBTQ science fiction. The main character in this one is trying to avenge the devastation of planet Earth, which I think sounds really good. I really enjoy revenge stories, so if she's getting revenge on behalf of an entire planet, I think that sounds really good. It's not something that I've read before. It says here that Command assigns her brother to death and relegates her, the main character, to the nursery to bear sons, I see. So they're making her have children. Is what this synopsis is trying to say. I just can't read. It's a debut book. I always really love supporting debut authors. This one does sound like one that I will love, so again I'm going to try and get my hands on this one. On the 18th of April we have The Bone Shard War, which is the 3rd book in the Drowning Empire trilogy, I think it's called, and this is the final book, so it is just a trilogy, not a prolonged series. I don't really know how to talk about this one without spoiling anything, but basically in the 1st book it follows a range of characters. One of them is the daughter of an emperor, and the emperor uses bone shard magic to control his citizens, and then things start to get a bit out of hand because the end of the world is coming, as it often is in fantasy books, and these characters kind of cross paths and have to try to take down this emperor. And that's what I'm going to say about that one, but I'm really looking forward to reading this final book in the series. I haven't read the 2nd book yet, but it is over there. I don't know if you can see it, and I'm hoping to have read that by the time you're watching this video so I can get my hands on this one ASAP. This next one is coming out on the 20th of April and it's called The Memory of Animals. This one may not be for everyone because it's a dystopian speculative book about a virus and a pandemic that is going around. The main character is part of an early vaccine trial, so I think she's one of the few people left after most other people die from this virus. I really don't mind reading books about viruses or pandemics at the moment. I know a lot of people don't like it though, so that's fine. I just wanted to mention this one because I do have a review copy of it and I am looking forward to giving it a go. I think it sounds very captivating, and because there'll also be the emotional element in there for me, I think I will really enjoy it. Next we have The Trip. This one I think already released last year, but this might be the paperback release. I have a review copy of it and it says that it's coming out in April, so I assume that is the case. This is about a group of 6 friends who are reuniting for a holiday, I think in Marrakesh, and they're all kind of harbouring a dark secret, or many dark secrets, who knows. This is a mystery thriller, so I'm not going to read the synopsis for you because you might not want to know. I certainly don't want to know the details, but I really enjoy these holiday thrillers at the moment where these groups of people, or just one protagonist, is going away on holiday and the kind of isolation or change of scenery starts to get to them and all of these truths come out. I think it's a really good way of telling the story. Then on the 25th of April we have Ascension. This is an adult sci-fi book. I think it's also mixing in thriller and horror elements as well. From what I can tell from the tagline, what happens in this one is a mysterious mountain appears up out of the Pacific Ocean. No one knows why it is shown up or how. The main character is leading a team who are setting off for the mountain. I don't know if it's told from like different points of view as well, but I'm very interested in following along with this team to figure out the mysteries of this mountain that has suddenly appeared out of the ocean. It says at the bottom that it's framed by the discovery of the leader's unsent letters to his family, so I don't know if it's going to be told in mixed media format or solely in letters. I do have a review copy of this one, so I'm going to find out very soon, so I'm going to read it probably in the next couple of weeks. It sounds very exciting, so I think I'm going to enjoy it. On the 27th of April we have The Daughters of Madurai. This is a debut book. It's historical and contemporary. It's told in dual timelines. The first timeline is in India in 1992. The main character is forced to give birth over and over again, and her children keep getting taken away from her. And then in 2019, the main character is living, different main character is living in Sydney, and she has to go back to India to see her grandfather who is dying. And I think she starts to discover things about where her family came from and what happened back then. I think I already said that this is a debut book, and like I said, I really enjoy supporting debut authors, so I'm going to be reading this one ASAP. I do have a review copy of this one as well, so I'm looking forward to getting to it. Also on the 27th of April we have The Hike. This is by an author who I've read from before, Lucy Clark, and I really enjoy reading books about hiking trips and being lost in the wilderness. It's just, they're quite exciting to me. So this is an adult mystery thriller. It's about a bunch of friends who go hiking in, I think, Norway, in the mountains or in the wilderness, and then a body is found at the bottom of a ravine. And like I said, I won't be reading too much of the synopsis for this one, but I think the basics of it is there's a killer somewhere on the trail and the main characters have to try to escape. I'm dying to read this one. I'm probably going to read it soon, maybe sometime in March, which has already gone by the time you're seeing this video, so you may have seen it in my March wrap up. If not, you'll see it in my April one. Then we have Dust Child, which is also by an author who I've read from before, and I absolutely love her writing. This one is set in the 1960s, I think, and it's about two sisters who are living in rural Vietnam. They want to move into a bigger city because I guess they're kind of getting bored with the farming life, and they start bartending, I think, or waitressing in a bar which is frequented by American men, American soldiers, because this is during the period of the Vietnam War. And again, it's another generational story by this author, and it follows more characters 2 decades later. I think the later timeline is following some people who were also affected by the Vietnam War and about their heritage as well. So again, it's another historical book, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one as well. I don't have a review copy of this, unfortunately, but I'm going to buy it as soon as I can because I really love this author's other book, and I might reread that one first before I get to this one because I think having the context would really help. Not that they're connected apart from being set around the same time. Next we have a book called Star Splitter. This one is coming out on the 25th of April. I think this is YA sci-fi, and it's about a main character called Jessica who has crash landed on a planet which is light years away from Earth. It says here that teleportation and planetary colonization in deep space aren't just hypotheticals anymore, they are real. Jessica's scientist parents left her behind 6 years ago and she wants to be reunited with them, and she's about to be. The teleportation device goes wrong and Jessica wakes up in a spaceship that has crash landed on another planet. This one sounds excellent. I can't wait to read this one. I don't know if I have this as a review copy or not. I can't remember, and I can't check NetGalley because it's down at the moment. But if not, I'm going to be looking it up on NetGalley and requesting it soon because this does sound really good. I'm really missing some YA sci-fi in my life, I think, at the moment. Next we have a very popular release, and that is In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. This one's coming out on the 25th of April as well. I've got no idea what this one's about, and I don't really want to look up the synopsis of it. I think it's going to be another cozy fantasy series by him, or book by him rather. It's a standalone book, so I'm hoping this next book by him is going to be a lot better than Under the Whispering Door was. From what I can tell, it's set in the forest, and it's about found family and everyone coming together, and it's probably going to be really heartwarming, I hope. Next we have Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is coming out on the 25th of April. I probably won't be reading this one right away, to be honest. I haven't read any of her books since Beach Read, and I didn't really love that one. So yeah, I might try and get the rest of her books from the library and see if I actually like any of them, but I'm not really holding out much hope. So this one is about a couple who have broken up, but they have agreed to go on a group holiday with some friends, and they have to pretend to still be together. So I don't know if they're going to get back together or if all the friends are going to sort of get involved. I don't really know. But this one does sound like it's got the best premise out of all of her books for me. It's the most intriguing anyway, so I might give it a go. We'll see. Then we have The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. This is actually coming out on the 4th of April. I just forgot about it because I think it already came out in Australia, I think, because it's an Australian author. This is another mystery thriller. Sally Hepworth's books tend to be focused on family and marriage and siblings, and that's all I can really tell you about this one because I haven't read the synopsis. I will be checking this one out at some point, but probably not anytime soon. And then going back to the 25th of April, because we're jumping around all over the place, we have You Shouldn't Have Come Here, and this is about a woman from New York who books an Airbnb in Wyoming, and it's a mystery thriller, so the host starts acting a bit weirdly, and that's all I know about it, but I think it sounds fun. I do use Airbnb quite regularly when I go away in the UK, so I think this will be fun and entertaining for me. And then finally, also on the 25th of April, we have The Last Word by Taylor Adams. I do have a review copy of this one, but I haven't read it yet. This is by the author of No Exit, which I only gave 3 stars. I didn't really love it, and then they also wrote another book called Hairpin Bridge, which I didn't bother to read, but this one does sound quite good. Basically, it's about a woman who posts a negative book review, and the author, I think, tracks her down and goes a bit wild. Not to brag or anything, but I was actually around during the whole Kathleen Hale drama, and so this synopsis is really hitting close to home, and it's something that actually happened in the book community, so I'm interested to see how Taylor Adams tackles this. I don't know much about him. I don't know if he was around during that time as well. I'm probably gonna have to look up the background of this. I hope he handles it respectfully, because it is actually something that happened to a book reviewer, although I imagine what happens in this book is a lot more extreme than what happened in real life. Anyway, I'm looking forward to reading it and seeing what I think. I'll post a full review if you think that would be handy for you. I can also talk about how it links in with what happened to the book reviewer in real life and the whole Kathleen Hale thing. If you would like me to do that, just let me know in the comments below. So those are a bunch of books that I'm looking forward to getting my hands on in April. My most anticipated books, bar maybe a couple, which they're just ones I thought you might be interested in. Let me know in the comments below which of these you're most looking forward to. If you'd like me to pick up any of these in particular and post a full review on my channel, then I can definitely do that. Just tell me in the comments. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Bye.